was very happy to get home. Uh, my duffel bag was not inspected. I didn't have to get involved with that at all. I decided that first order of business was see about getting a job. Uh, Very anxious to hook up with Mira, who I've been corresponding with. Now I don't have to worry about writing my mom because I'll see her. And I don't think I was home more than a day or two when I decided I'll just explore job possibilities. I had a job offer in my pocket because Hughes Electronic had offered me a job. He says, son, he's an older guy. When you get out of the service, you ought to come out to Fullerton and work for Hughes. You know, there are lots of jobs for people who have had your military experience in terms of the equipment you worked on. So felt good about that because working with him, he decided I was good enough that they'd probably give me a job. All right, so a couple of days home, I said, well, I just can't stand not knowing about jobs. I knew that IBM had the reputation for being a really good company to work for. And as a non-employee, I'd heard things like, boy, government, you can get a good job with the government and have good benefits. IBM might be better than the government. You can get a good job with really good benefits and it's growing and blah, blah, blah. Now, I knew Washington, D.C. pretty well at the time before they did changes and improvements after I left. I left at age 25, basically. Anyway, so I knew there was an IBM office downtown Washington on Connecticut Avenue. So I go in and ask the receptionist, I'd like to speak to the person who hires people to work on computers. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're not hiring. Because of prior experience, I immediately felt it was a racial thing. I wasn't sure, but I was going to find out. So I said to this receptionist, lady, you're just a receptionist. You can't tell me I can't get a job with IBM. Bullied her a bit, frightened her. She got up and disappeared. I'm standing now in the lobby, and she comes back with a guy. He says, may I help you? I said, are you the person who hires people to work on computers? He said, no, I'm the admin manager. I don't know what that means. What do I have to do to talk to the man who hires people to work on computers? Do I have to come in here with a damn lawyer? They both disappear. They come back, and now there are three of them. The new guy says, may I help you? I said, I hope so. I came in, all I wanted to do is to talk to the manager who hires people who to work on computers. And this woman basically snubbed me and went away and came back with this other guy. And same thing as far as I'm concerned. And he says, why are we standing out here talking? Come on into my office. When I saw him coming, I said, this must be the man. Brooks Brothers suit, Oxford button down shirt, collegiate tie, neat suit, Florsheim shoes. Yeah. So when he was coming, I knew it was a different cut, if you will. So he took me into the office and said, "Have a seat. Would you like some water?" "No, I'm comfortable." And he says, "Let me do some checking." And he got on the phone. And I don't know who he was talking to, but he came back and says, uh, and he told me a name is not in the building today. He's at another location in a meeting and so forth. But uh, don't leave. I'd like to try something else. And he called somebody else. And he said, "This is not the man who hires people to work on computers, but he is interested in talking to you." I said, "Fine." And this another guy came and got me and took me to his office. And he says, "You're just out of the military, huh?" "Yes, I just got out of the service." And he said, "Do you know anything about typewriters, electric typewriters?" I said, "No, but I'm somewhat familiar with teletype equipment. And I'm pretty good with mechanical things." And he says, "Let me tell you what I have to offer. Uh, if you can qualify, I can hire you to work on uh, IBM typewriters, uh, and you would be responsible for a specific geography. And any of the equipment that you're trained on that has a problem, they will call IBM and we'll ask you to respond and go solve the problem, repair it." And it says, "So it's my own territory, and I'll be uh, rated on how well I do the job?" "Yes." I said, "That sounds kind of interesting." And he says, "Well, uh, we have a multi-part test, and if you think you might be interested in doing this, maybe you would want to bone up. There are three major parts: general knowledge, electronic knowledge, and mechanical knowledge." And I said, "Well, can I take the test?" He said, I don't, I wouldn't recommend it. Uh, it's something that you might want to bone up on." I said, "I really would like to test. If I fail, I'll know what I need to do to get ready and perhaps later come back and try again." He says, "Well, if you insist." I completed the task, and I knew about, resistance and voltage and all that kind of stuff. And so I felt really good. So I said, "How do I do?" And he took my test paper and he had another sheet over it. And the sheet had little holes in it because I had responded blacking in the circles, right? I'd have been dumbfounded if I'd missed more than two questions. I don't really think I missed any. I was that confident, right? He said, "Well, you did very well. You didn't have to go and, bone up or anything." I said, "Sir, I just got out of the military and I spent, probably 14, 15 months going to one kind of school or another. I should be ready, right?" And I said, he said, "You did." He wouldn't tell me that he got what my score was. I did very well. He says, "Can I have the job?" He says, "Well, slow down a little bit." He says, "There's things that have to be done, right? I think someone else will have to interview. You'll have to visit the doctor to have you check, blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Fine. Can you set up the appointments for the doctor?" And blah, 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 blah. Got really pushy. Unbeknownst to me, Matt, that office wanted to hire a minority person. The IBM was unhappy with the office because they didn't have any non-white faces out into the public. They had office workers, IBM people in the plant, blah, blah, blah. But it was a federal office, and the government is supposed to be supporting the other minority races, and they don't have any. So I, through pure dumb luck, had kind of bullied my way into a situation where they were doing everything they could think of doing to harm me. Pure dumb luck. My wife always tells me I'm really lucky. Now that I have a job with IBM, I can start think about my future with Mira, my present squeeze. Squeeze being sweetheart, right? This is 1950s. I'm 61. Yeah. I guess it got to be the 60s. Anyway, my main squeeze. So, uh, I got married shortly after, the same year that I got a job with IBM and got all trained up and felt I had a secure job and a secure future.